And then when they brought him into the city in Jerusalem, he was riding on a donkey. And people had sense enough to see that this is the one. I heard Sister Brown cry out this morning in Sunday school, King of Kings. They had sense enough to know that he is the Lord of Lords. And he coming through with all power. Jesus sitting up on the donkey riding, and they were waving their palms, and they were throwing their garments in the way to make the ride even smoother, because they knew the Savior was coming through. But I'm so glad, even though he knew he was on his end down here, he wouldn't give up on us. He wanted us to remember that if he went through it, there was nothing that was going to be too hard for us. He wanted us to remember that whatever he did, to always remember that he is the way, the truth, and the life. He was riding in with victorious victory. And they were saying, Hosanna in the highest. But this is the one. You want to tell somebody, I serve the great one. I serve the true and the living God. And they were saying, blessed be the King that cometh in the name of the Lord. Why could they be so victorious? Because they had already seen the miracles. They already seen what God could do. And God just said, remind my people to remember what I've already done. I need you to remember, if I healed you then, I can heal you now. If I covered you then, I can cover you now. He wants us to remember that whatever he did, he's the same God. He can do the same thing. So now he sit down to the final meal. He continued to teach to his disciples. And after they got up from supper, Jesus went into the garden, and there he prayed. Somebody ought to say, he prayed for me. We got to remember how Jesus prayed, so that when trouble comes, we can pray. He went into the garden and prayed, knowing that they're coming for him. These are some things that led up to his last days on earth. Now he's in the garden, getting ready to be arrested. But before he got arrested, he went to the Father, and he began to pray. And he said, Father, if it be your will to remove this cup, but nevertheless, not my will, but thy will be done. He wanted us to remember that there's some things we're going to have to go through, but he's going to be with us. He wanted us to remember that our will is not always right, but we got to say, Lord, whatever your will is, that's what I want. He was in that garden, and he already knew that Judas would betray him with a kiss. Sometimes folk will do good things for you, but they'll betray you. Sometimes folk will talk about you, they'll lie on you. But Jesus wanted us to remember that if he made it through, we can